Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at two pretty cool power banks from CUKTECH. Now, you may be unfamiliar with this name, but they've actually been producing the Xiaomi power banks under the Xiaomi ecosystem for a number of years now and have been pretty popular, but recently they've decided to spin out and create one of their own labels. Still, at the roots, this is a Xiaomi affiliated company, and when it comes to these products, the 20 power bank here on the left under their P series has this very interesting transparent design that we'll take a closer look at in a moment, along with a LCD screen on the top that can show you some quick status, including power percentage remaining, as well as the charging speed, the wattage that's going out and flowing in. Pretty cool overall, and this is a fairly large cell at 25,000 milliamp hours. However, what's interesting is it also claims to reach up to a 210 watts output, which is crazy. That being said, it has to be under certain supported smartphones, including Xiaomi devices, not too surprising considering that this is an affiliated brand, recharging those smartphones in around just 30 minutes or so. This is still allowed to be carried onto most flights in terms of the capacity as well. Also has low current charging that can be used for devices like wireless buds and smart bracelets and watches. They also have other models in their portfolio, including their 15 series that we also have here on the right, which is a 20,000 milliamp hour capacity cell. Have a smaller display in comparison, in addition to slightly slower charging speeds, up to 150 watts with supported Xiaomi devices. And this is going to be capable of, again, charging laptops even around 2 times, such as the MacBook Pro, as well as smartphones, including the iPhone 14 for around 4 times to 5 times before the battery here empties. So good enough for a longer weekend trip. But by the way, they do have also a power station-esque model that has an even larger 40,000 milliamp hour capacity and can further recharge up to 300 watts. That is insane and pretty much the fastest speeds I've ever seen across any battery power bank charger on the market. So again, pretty cutting edge, not too surprising again from a Xiaomi affiliated company. So here we have the, again, P20 model first, and some additional contents here include a USB Type-C cable, as well as even a soft carrying pouch to take the power bank, protecting it a little bit when you are on the go, as well as a quick user guide. Cable here is also branded with the CUKTECH logo there. It's a Type-C to Type-C, pretty standard stuff. As for the slightly smaller P15 model, on the inside we have the power bank along with just another Type-C to Type-C cable, although in this particular instance there isn't a soft carrying case included. A closer look at the design, CUKTECH claims that it is inspired by kind of a cyberpunk appearance because of the translucent acrylic plastic on the top here that is see-through, and when you actually turn the unit on, there are some LED lighting pieces that will start to glow and flash, not to mention this extra large screen, one of the biggest I've actually come across in a power bank, with various textures that make it a little bit more grippy as you're holding it as well. Then on the very top here, we have just the Type-A port as well as the 2 USB Type-C ports. The one accented in blue is the fastest charging port, which again, if you are using a Xiaomi phone, can reach over 200 watts. But even for other Android smartphones and computers, it can still top up at over 100 watts. It's still very fast using that port. No issues at all. It's all powered by GaN, aka gallium nitride technology, that makes it possible for this high power wattage to be achieved in something very compact. It supports pass-through charging as well, so you can charge the power bank while plugging it into your phone at the same time. And it's a safe charger, of course, so once it reaches 100%, the charging will automatically stop. Now, by comparison, the P15 is a lot more low-key. It's not quite as special looking, I dare say. It's made out of this kind of space gray plastic polycarbonate shell, but you still have just a little bit branding information and then a slightly more textured back on here, making it easier to grip, as well as kind of the travel-friendly sticker on the very rear here as well. The very top, though, features the same number of ports, including the Type-A, as well as the 2 USB Type-C ports. Again, the blue one here is going to be good for larger devices, including laptops, to achieve the fastest charging rate. You still have some neon blue accent work, but these are just painted on, as opposed to being LED, which will glow in the dark, like on the P20 series over here. There is still a small display on the front, though, that you can tap on once to take a look at how much percentage is left in the power bank. So not bad in terms of the functionality, however, it's just not quite as cool as the extra large screen and all the animation work going on with this particular model. Still, here's a quick comparison in size of them next to each other. You can tell that the P15 will be just a little bit slimmer as a result, so even easier to travel and carry with you when on the go. Here it is next to a average smartphone, about a 6.5-inch display, and you can tell that it's going to be easy enough to put into a backpack. We can see that the charging here will start automatically, of course charging super quickly. So more specifically, it's drawing around 12 watts at the moment, not a ton, and that's because this phone is already over 90% charged, so it's slowing itself down purposefully to prolong the battery health in the long term without overcharging it too quickly, but it will charge at, again, a faster rate when you're first plugging it in if it's nearly empty. And again, the power bank itself right now has 26% remaining. There's even a decimal point at the end showing a lot of attention that we don't usually see in some of these metrics, and it still has about 2 hours of capacity left. You can charge 3 devices simultaneously, although keep in mind that the 210 watt output is going to be the maximum, as well as 140 watts if you're using other non-Xiaomi devices. So that means if you're charging, again, 2 laptops at the same time, it's going to be split something closer to 80 watts or 100 watts across those 2 ports. That said, in most cases, 100 watts is still plentiful even for laptops. In this case, about 42 watts, and while the charging is in progress, you'll always be seeing this flowing animation on the LED light strip, which looks even cooler once the lights are slightly dimmed. That being said, the 2 cavities on the left and right sides kind of reminds me of an empty battery charger for some reason. I always thought that there might have been maybe a cell that is visible on these 2 slots, but apparently not. That's tucked away under the compartment further down below. So there might be a tiny sliver here of slightly wasted space, but still has a very interesting aesthetic overall. Even when the screen times out there to conserve on power, you still have a very faint LED light visible on the strip that gets just a little bit brighter once the entire thing wakes up. Also, now that we're charging a more power-hungry laptop, it knows that the 23% in the current rate is sufficient for lasting us about 42 minutes of additional charging time. Plus, when nothing is being charged, the rippling pattern will stop and it just shows the CUKTECH logo there on the top right corner. And now plugging it into a power adapter, another GaN charger, you can tell that it is charging up at a pretty fast rate, almost 100 watts. In fact, it claims to get from 24% to full, only taking about 1 hour left in its current estimation. That being said, the 2 Type-C ports are a little bit close together when it comes to spacing. So if you have a cable which is a little bit fatter, more thick like this one than usual, it might be a little bit hard to plug both of them in at the same time, but standard cables should work all right. Just keep that in mind. Maybe they could space them out a little bit more in a future revision. That could be even better. And now, while the power bank itself is being charged back up, you can tell that the animation has reversed. It's going from the bottom to the top now instead of the top to the bottom when it was charging other devices. So again, the small touches and detail work continues. Thermal management seems to be decent, and even charging up to 3 devices simultaneously, although it gets a little bit warmer here, it still doesn't feel too hot or concerning. There might be some limitations on the phone or computer side for the maximum rate that it's capable of, but it's nice to have a power bank that is technically able to reach even higher wattage outputs if your device has that capability. Otherwise, the P15 series, again, works pretty much exactly in the same way. It's just not quite as fun from perhaps a design perspective, but as a power bank is concerned, charging rate still works really without any complaints when it comes to laptops, including phones, even when charging 3 devices simultaneously. So certainly no problems there as far as power bank performance is concerned. And again, 150 watts is still more than enough horsepower at the end of the day. In most cases, that speed is not really going to be a problem. It's just the other model is a little bit more aesthetic, and in terms of the delta in price between the two, it's only around $15 or so. I would still probably prefer the P20 a little bit more, just because I think you are getting more of your money's worth, both in terms of a higher capacity, charging rate as well, in addition to just that more fancy design for not significantly more money. That being said, again, this is technically their budget model out of their lineup at the moment. So there we have it, just 2 pretty cool power banks again from CUKTECH, even though again the name itself on first glance may not be something super familiar. They are again the same OEM making the Xiaomi and Xiaomi power banks. Overall, I would say this is a great alternative to models from Anker if you just want a power bank that is both highly functional when it comes to capacity, charging speed, as well as in the P20's case, something with a little bit more of a fancy and different design. You can check out more details if interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.